There have been renewed accusations in Parliament about left-wing bias on the part of BBC television. At the same time, accusation of right-wing bias, this time by the ACTT and their news monitoring team. And the continuing story of London Weekend Television's Power Game continues, with the cast dropping like flies. And on top of all this, of course, comes the news of the television licence fee going up. Everybody talks about television, and that's what we're doing tonight, in a discussion which took place 2 days ago at the Guinness Works canteen in London. Nothing has been taken out. The conversation is exactly as it happened. Edie, what do you think about the licence going up by £1? Do you think it's worth it?
No, I don't. Not really. I think that's terrible.
Why?
Why? Well, because I think we pay enough, because we don't get enough decent programmes, do we, really?
What does anybody else think about the licence going
I
up?
think we get far too many repeats and far too many old films and too much sex. She doesn't put
I don't think there's enough
too many
sex,
people
real
jumping in and out
sex.
of bed.
Oh, I love that.
Where would you like to see the sex in the programmes? Which programmes would you like to see more,
Oh, no,
more of it in?
I'm only joking about the sex, really. Yeah. Oh,
Well, I think myself that the BBC, to what it is now, and the picture that was always in one's mind prior to the last couple of years, the BBC has no longer got the standard of entertainment that people, got used to. When you take your plays now, at one time you could sit down hour and a half, really enjoy it. You could make a family thing about it. Now you've got some real amateurish talent writing these scripts or plays, whatever you like to call them. You might get 4 or 5 minutes of sex, normally at the beginning of these plays. Of course, it impresses the masses so much that they can get away with a load of rubbish for the rest of the programme. And the next morning, when you come to work and that, you hear nothing about the plot of the play or the story. All you hear is, did you see that fella with this woman and that? And that's all. And to me, it's so inferior, You must have 5 minutes of sex and switch the set off.
But when do you date
It's not entertainment at all.
When do you reckon it started going downhill that way?
Well, I suppose it's all taken up with our society as a whole. Pop music, the age limit of people are now come to take their vote at 18. They dropped that by 3 years from 21. It's a concept that's been gradually building up over the last 2 or 3 years. And people think because they can portray 4 or 5 minutes of sex with a fella and a girl, that this is a great play, this is a great film. A load of rubbish. Where's all the great actors come? We had Henry VIII on this week, didn't we? Or finished last week.
Yeah.
But for the last, say, 18 months or 2 years, apart from that series of plays, everything was rubbish. Yet you bring something good like this out, it was terrific. Everybody enjoyed it. You should be able to do this all the time.
So the audience is there all the time?
All the time, if you want them.
What does anybody else think?
They show too many old films then. I mean, the film situation I think is atrocious, really, because the amount of money that we're paying now, it's going up. Why don't they spend some of that money on speculation? Because the cinemas are shutting down. Why don't they show more recent films with bigger stars? And have paid television if you're going to pay, but put something on worth watching. Not all these old films that we keep seeing.
Do you not like old films?
I like old films.
It's a good film. I don't mind sitting and watching it. There's a limit nearly to where old starts and sort of moving into, But I mean,
just get them once.
when we say, we don't want to see something back in the 30s, because really the standard is raised so high now. We've got more realism now in films. In those days, they used to live in a fantasy world, really. And really, the sort of thing I'd like to see is more programmes like one that's finished there last year, Callan. It's one of your BBC programmes.
I like some quite a good audience.
I like programmes that don't insult my intelligence, and I think a lot of them programmes do.
Why don't they show more programmes like Braden's Beat that shows up companies and the way they rob the people? I think this would be better to show, not at times when people want to go to bed when they worked all the week, is around about 8 o'clock, so you can sit down after you've had your dinner and watch programmes like that at that time of night. Not leave it till 11 o'clock when everyone wants to go to bed. I think you'd have a better audience watching films.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
That they can say that they're not being robbed. Or like this decimal currency is coming over there. They should show the public, especially the old age pensioners, how not to be got robbed. And if they brought a programme out showing how the spibs and everybody can deceive them, then they'd be aware of this when they go for shopping and they can look for it. But what it happens now is everybody's being caught, then you read it in the paper. Let's do the thing before they get caught. Bring it out into the open before it came in. It would have been a good idea, wouldn't it?
It'd be a big help.
I'd like to say something on this. To me, like a Saturday evening is the average working man's night out. Because a Sunday evening has to prepare to go to work, and Friday evening is just finished work. So Saturday gives them a rest day the next day. Why is it at midnight at 12 o'clock? Everything on the BBC is finished. Bar BBC Two, you can get a film, right? But 12 o'clock on Saturday evening, after you've been out to the pub with your wife or friends, you come home, the television finished. Yet on a bloody Monday evening, they've got a film on at 10:30 going on till what time it finishes, when everybody's got to go to work the next day. Saturday evening, we shouldn't have these programmes stopped at 11:45 and 12 o'clock. They should go on at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. If you don't want to watch, you just switch your shit off and go to bed. The public house is shut at 11 o'clock. Most clubs do. You come home, you might have a bit of supper, you come in your house. If you're not having a party or having some friends in, there's no entertainment on the box.
So you like late night programmes on a Saturday night?
At the right time.
Yes.
And I think everybody's in agreement with that. That is the average working class person on a Saturday evening.
Why do all the pop stars that have their own programme, every time you see a show, it doesn't mean anything when you have, say, Cilla Brett's programme. It's not really Cilla Brett's programme. All she's doing is commentating it. You get Tom Jones' programme. All he's doing is comment. You get the same stars. There's no variety. There's not like the old time when you used to go up to Empire and see a variety show. It's the same thing night after night, only with different artists. There's nothing, not a different medium, is it? It's the same old thing every time.
The only one you get down now, the old time show has come from Leeds. I can't think it's once a fortnight, is it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I look forward to that. That's good.
You're talking about the old-time variety?
Yes, I mean, you'd want a little more. I'm not saying you'd want it every night of the week. Maybe, say, once a week more, you know. It's really terrific to see the talent, and the old talent. You know, it brings you back, you know, I'm just saying to the old days, but it makes you appreciate a bit of music. Some of these pop stars you're listening to today, just hollering and shouting at you.
But what about documentaries?
I was just going to say to you, programmes like This Week and that, I'd like to see a bit more time given to, for instance, you know, we're in a firm here now, which is an industry in itself. I'd like to see a bit more time given to members of unions and their representatives on television. I think they've got too little time really to put their particular view forward, you know. And another thing is I'd like to see a bit more spontaneous reaction from interviewers going into the street and getting people's reactions to different strikes there and then, you know. I think it make people aware of, you know, both sides of the strike. At the moment, we're inclined to have the press on us one side and the television on the other side, and nobody can convince me that both of those aren't committed one way or the other in any particular strike.
Mind you hear a lot about what is supposed to be left-wing bias on the part of the BBC. This has been alleged many times. Do you feel that's... Do you
Well, I
see
think
that?
you'll get that in any field, don't you?
Yeah, but I think it's...
I mean, the Tories got money, and whenever money talks,
You see,
put their proposition to the public. And there's one thing I like to say about television programmes. When you're seeing a good film, why can't BBC have a different programme like The Moon Space? Now, I was watching a film. Now, I've seen The Moon Space the first time, and if I wanted to hear it, I'd tune in on a different channel and see it. But I would had it thrown at me. When there was films on, they'd split the film and say, so-and-so. Well, I think that was rather annoying. Why couldn't they put that out on a different channel? Anybody who wants to see it could see it. Anybody who wants to see the film sees the film. Why can't that be done?
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, though, but because they didn't, for example, interrupt the 6 Wives of Henry VIII for the...
No, but they did on ITV. They did on ITV, they had a film showing.
The point I'm making is that a lot of people complained because they couldn't see it on BBC
Well,
One.
then why don't you put it out before it's coming on so-and-so channel I mean, everybody's got different channels on their sets. That anybody wants to see it is on the certain channel. Then they could turn in or turn off, whatever they like. But not flash it. Everybody can please themselves. I don't think you should have television thrown at you. Just have what you want to put onto there. It's only really what the BBC or the ITV want to show you. It's like government politics. They only tell you what they want you to hear, don't they? I mean,
Exactly, that's what I'm getting.
that's what he's on about, the unions. They give so long to the unions, and then you get Ted Heath on, and he's got practically as long as life because he's an important personality. But
Yeah, as a matter of interest, do you reckon that you get most of your information about current affairs from television or newspapers or
well,
what?
you get a lot of current affairs
I'd agree
from
with that. I would agree with that.
Well, sorry, what?
from letters.
Well, you know, if you take the average morning paper, usually on the headlines it's got man eats dog or dog eats man or something, but the real issues in life, you don't really learn much about them until you switch the telly on. Most days during the week, and you'll have some panel or other arguing about a certain subject, which does tend to educate you, to give you an opinion of who you want to agree with. But
Do you
without that
reckon that's
medium,
true? I mean, do you watch television for that as well?
I still think
Well, you
that
don't
some, of
watch it.
some of the interviewers are already committed one way or the other, and a lot of these interviews they hold with union representatives. They're inclined to try to browbeat different people with their arguments, and let's face it, they probably have the power. Well, they can use speech a lot better than we can, and words, and they can make you look damn silly if they really put their mind to it on television. I think really they should open the argument, and then both parties can put their case from there, but only open the argument and don't take any part in it except maybe to just keep it going.
Do you reckon that television is unfair then?
I think it has been in certain cases, and one of my views, anyway, regarding to union issues.
I think that the majority of political issues that are brought up from time to time on the television are slightly biased to the, for want of a better word, to them. You mentioned earlier on that were we of the opinion that the BBC was slightly biased? Well, I'm of that opinion that they are slightly biased. The interviewers on these discussions, they seem to portray their own outlook more so than trying to get it out with
So
people.
what discussions are you talking about?
Well, you get union leaders being interviewed by various people on the channels. You get it don't only have to be union.
So you reckon it's a right-wing bias then?
I do, yes, I do.
Do you reckon that
Not
too?
not overpoweringly so, but enough for us to know it. Put it that way.
You get the programme and the cameras, and we can't see behind the screens, but when you're interviewing the right and left sections, I mean, there's nothing, we don't know whether the cameraman's told to point the camera on the right wing or the left wing, do we? We're only getting what you intend us to look at. And I've generally found out that you'll get the head speaker, and get more say than a lower chap.
Yeah.
In his field.
Yeah.
And I reckon, like David Frost, he does some good programmes, but they're very bad conducted. I mean, when he has a good subject to discuss regarding hearts. Now, there's too many people, and it's not conducted right, butting in and you don't get the point. Everybody's on toes, I am at home, wanting to know these, but Frost hasn't got the mannerism, I think, or the know-how to hold a crowd and to put them in their place to ask questions at the proper time.
So you're not saying he's biased, you mean that
No.
he didn't handle it well?
Well, I don't think he handles the job well. I don't know whether he's big-headed or whether he can't do that part of it. He's not a bad talker, but he can't control a crowd of people.
I mean, what about, as a specific example, the power workers? Did you see that one?
Yeah, I think that was disgusting, that even allowed the chap to be hooked. I mean, they were under his protection. He should have even stepped in, but he didn't even step in to stop the man being strapped, did he? But I don't think he gave each individual a fair chance to outline their case. I mean, there was a man there trying to outline his case that's been in the job 40-odd years. But he never got as much speak as a certain man on a newspaper. Did you see that? He had no say, but he was a learned chap and he could speak well. But because he's like that, I don't think he should have most say. I mean,
I think the man on the newspaper was from the Guardian, wasn't he?
Yes, that's right.
And I think
Guardian.
in fact he was in favour of the power workers.
yes, he was. But they give him a lot of scope. They never brought out the actual workers' ins and outs. I mean, that chap, their problems. That chap was a good chap for them. He's an educated man. But unless you do the job yourself, you don't know the intimate problems, what they were having, do you? He only knows the technical side of it and the finance side of it, didn't he? That's all he... So, therefore, they give him, I think, personally, too much of the camera. So,
Actually, I hope that in time that the unions will take a lead from television and get speakers and people who can put their case damn sight better than the average union administrator can. When he's put on television, he's not much better than we are ourselves. He's at a loss for words and one thing and another. He puts his case badly. But if I wanted somebody to put my case forward, I'd have somebody of the calibre of, say, Bernard Levin or Robin Day or somebody like that the BBC have at their disposal. Now, these are the sort of people who can swing an opinion one way or the other on television, right in front of your very eyes.
can I come in there? Don't you think that commentators and people like Frost browbeat people like myself and these gentlemen sitting here? We are not with words, we're with our hands. He's being paid a fabulous pay and he rehearses, he knows what it does. And when you're having a discussion like this, if you was Frost, I could be lost with words because you could bamboozle me with a lot of words and I would be speechless. No, but if you was, what I'm trying to do is give an example. If you was Frost, all what I thought of saying, you could say something and browbeat me and I'd forget all what I was saying. And I could talk more than most people can talk. But I think that if I was sitting in front of Frost and he'd come and agitated me, I'd want to whack him. That's what I'd want to do because I think he really insults people and pulls them down if it isn't going his way.
But you're not just talking about Frost, are you?
No,
You're
I'm
talking about television
interviewers
generally.
They will
Do you think that's
browbeat.
true?
Yes, I
Well,
do.
you see, the trouble with television, this is my personal opinion, that we haven't got much choice actually for our 11 guineas, £11 a year or whatever it's going to be, have we?
You've got colour then?
Well, no, but I'm supposing that we had. I'm speaking for the majority. I can either put ITV on with whatever they want to give me, or I can put BBC. But I haven't got another company where I want to pay that I prefer your entertainment because it's what I like. It's more about life. There's not too much party politics. It's real entertainment. It's not fostering some up-and-coming pop idol, the spotty-faced, long-haired gits, as we call them. I mean, these are portrayed at you day after day, night after night. There's bits of kids dancing around. This is supposed to be great entertainment. We don't want this kind of thing, you know. If I could have a choice for what I would like, as I say, good entertainment, especially variety. I think everybody likes variety in the true sense of the word.
But do you reckon there isn't enough choice? I mean, you've got a choice of 3 channels.
I don't think the variety of the programming on the BBC or the other channel, you know, it covers a large enough field. Your sport is the same.
You're talking as though there are only 2 channels. There's BBC One.
I'm talking about
BBC
television
2,
in general.
and there's ITV. You've got 3 channels.
You can't watch them. Yes, there is, but the BBC 1 and 2 has got the same parent company, haven't they? The BBC.
Yeah.
ITV, if you live in London, you get ITV Weekend or something. Your sport's another thing. I can see sport on Saturday afternoon, right? I'll see the same thing Saturday evening. I'll see it Sunday afternoon, and I'll come to work in the morning, and I've got it all again on Monday through the papers. Surely people must know that you're getting this stuff down your throat. You don't want it. If we're going to see sport, let's see the real thing. Not read the paper tomorrow morning to see what's on tonight that happened last night. Let's be there and see it. Even if it's once a week. We don't want to read about it and see what's coming.
Yeah.
This is what
Because the FA won't allow it, will they?
They'll allow it if the purse strings are, you know.
Well, I don't know if it's money that's involved in
It
the
is
thing.
money.
Of course it's money.
It's definitely money.
It's money on television.
You pay Tom Jones how much a programme, yet you won't pay the Football Association a load of money so that we can have live football because they won't get the crowds going to the football match. They want compensation on that, but why should you pay the pop artists that, in my opinion, are a load of rubbish. They're grossly overpaid. How can a pop artist get more money than a doctor that served his life and saves life, get more money in 5 or 6 years and become a millionaire? Yet we want to see our idols, our football idols. Honest, we can't sometimes get there, the traffic, or you might be working late, you can't get to the match. Why can't the BBC pay more money to the Football Association to compensate them on loss of crowds? Therefore, you'd save accidents like the last one the other day. You wouldn't have overcrowded stadiums. People could see it at comfort at home. I think you should do that.
But what about this question of choice? I mean, do you reckon there's not enough choice on television? For example, do you ever watch BBC Two?
I do.
Quite a lot.
The late night film.
Yeah.
We watch Chaparral. No, we do. We've got a very limited choice. To me, it's a very limited.
You mean
choice.
3 channels is too limiting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you put so many repeats
BBC
on.
Two, you'll get perhaps opera or, you know, the orchestra.
Well, this is the old bias again.
Whatever
It's
comes
like
on
the radio.
BBC One
The
is
radio's the
invariably
same.
a repeat. You've either seen it, you know, or you're watching a repeat.
It's the same with ITV.
And the same with ITV.
Film on there, it's an old film. It's
You've got the same, year after year, you've got the same artists appearing. It looks as though they're buying their way into me, in actual fact.
What about comedy? What comedy shows do you like?
Oh, there's
Well,
a bloke on it too.
comedy. There's this Benny Hill. I mean, I think it's terrific.
Morecambe and Wise. I mean,
Morecambe and Wise
well,
agrees.
let's face it. The big names are, you know, they've got a big audience. As simple as that. You know, we've got some good comedy shows, no doubt about it. But we've got some shows that go on year after year, don't they? Coronation Street.
Take your pick.
We've got another one now, The Doctors. Good Lord. Who wants to keep knowing about people's physical being and that? Let's have something that
Lets you
everyone wants to
live.
get away. We don't know about The Doctors.
What do you do with your long-running serials? People in the village just don't bother to put them on. They've gone on too long.
Well, it's
Place.
plays.
It's on your wit.
Yeah, my wife used to be crazy when it first came out. Now it never goes on.
Actually, getting
never
back to
bothered.
that argument about humour, I think a good point to be made there could be this business of... I don't think American humour goes down in this country.
Certainly does not.
In fact, we're two totally foreign types of humour to each other, and I'm supposed they appreciate us either. So really, for my money, I'd like to see a damn sight less of these so-called Americans getting involved in our programmes, you know.
The Dick Van Dykes, the Ronan Martins.
It's not our
Well,
type
you
of
see,
humour.
this is the trouble.
For money.
The American humour, you know, if you've got a comedian, American comedian, they're first class. You get their programmes, they're all right for a couple of weeks. When you get it month after month, year after year,
It's a glorified
this
repeat.
patent place has got nothing in common
in
at
a
all with the
different
British
situation.
way of life. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
people watch it, don't they?
Well, they
Do
watch
they?
it.
Yeah, but
They watch
do
it
they?
because they've got nothing else
Or is
to
it
do.
just on, like everybody
Is it-
else?
is it on
We go
because
home,
they've
the
got
telly
no
goes
choice?
on.
Or they
you
haven't
haven't-
got the
Because they've
choice.
got no
You haven't
choice.
got no choice.
You're back to your choice again.
Oh, wait,
Pathetic.
wait, yeah, you can't say no choice. You've got 2 other
Yeah,
channels.
but what time does
Yeah, but you
Coronation
find
Street
the
go
same
on?
I don't know how to look it up. Go on, you go on
7:30,
talk. I'll look it
You'll
up.
find the same things on the other channels.
You get it
that you've got fed up
7:30.
with.
Most of the people working
They are
population's having their meals.
6:35 on a Thursday.
Well,
Go on, you go
so
on
therefore
talk.
the kids go home and watch Children's Hour, the telly's left on, the old man comes home and has his grub. So the telly's bearing away, but you think that everybody's
The
watching
Doctors.
it.
And, wait a minute.
All at that
That was
hour.
on 1. And what's on 2? 6:35.
I wish I'd have thought
They are.
about this.
Small
I'll
builder.
give you a rip-
Well,
a
there
list
you are,
to
you
go
see. I
through.
mean, you're missing something. Small builder. Building in metric.
That's wonderful, isn't it?
Marvellous. That's wonderful.
Really enjoy that.
Especially to the likes of us.
I prefer the last series.
I'm sure that's why the English working man does so much overtime, you know, to miss half of these early programmes.
How do you take your census?
Yeah, this
How do you estimate that so many people are going to watch the Cassius Clay fight or so many's going to watch the football? How do you take that?
Well, this would take a long time to explain, and I don't know the precise way in which it's done. All I can say is that the way it's done on ITV is totally different from the way it's done.
Is it taken like
BBC.
a poll?
No,
They estimate.
No, I believe that what the ITV system is one in which merely the sets are measured. In other words, the number of sets which are switched on at a certain
Well, they
time.
could be on but not being used.
Whereas
couldn't
the BBC one is more exhaustive in that people are actually asked what they're watching and what they think of the programmes. But I mean, I wouldn't like to enter into that kind of discussion now because I don't know enough about it.
You know, by you bringing this point up, you've kind of answered your own question about what we are talking about here. The object of this discussion is to find out what the average man thinks about television.
If you reckon you're the average man.
Well, I
think he's the average man.
I think you've got the feeling that generally we all agree on certain programs, like the American programs, the humour, the Mickey taking of some of the elite of the you might get a little old woman from the East End of London or something.
David Frost.
Someone wants to take the mic out of it, you know.
You reckon there is an establishment, do you?
I reckon there is. There is an establishment. And they keep appearing on television. In fact, you can name them eventually, one after the other. The names just keep coming up on television. If there's somebody to be interviewed, they do the interview.
Wait a minute. For example, you're talking about the establishment of old established favourites, if you like. What about people like the Monty Python lot? Now, what do you think of them?
Sometimes exceedingly good.
Yeah,
The humour is, it's right on the ball of today's way of life. But other times, they're a little bit sick.
Yeah.
But do you mind that?
No, that's all right. It goes down.
I mean, what would you rather have? Would you rather have that kind of humour, which, as you say, sometimes you don't find funny, but other times, what?
Hilarious.
Yeah. Or would you rather have something that you're going to like?
Well, I'd like to have basic facts. Something
Well,
that you can...
I wouldn't like to be entertained by something I know that's going to happen to me. Entertainment to me is the unexpected, something original. I don't want to sit down and watch the telly that I know what's coming, which the majority of the players do.
But I mean, you wouldn't call the Monty Python lot establishment figures, would you?
No, they haven't been around long enough.
Are you trying to promote them? Can't you think of another one? Well, are you trying to promote them? Are you trying to get our opinion?
How much commission?
I'm very biased, yes.
Oh, you're biased on that.
Yeah.
But I got that you're trying to promote them.
I've got a badge under here that says I love Monty Python.
You see what I mean? We've all been having a say. Now, you're a person that does this regular, and straight away the text went on what you were thinking. Now, let's get into back to my old argument, where you get trained people that can outdo a working class man that's trying to give his point of view. He's bamboozled and made him look a fool.
I'm bamboozling you.
No. But
We're talking about straight interviews.
I'm talking about the way you brought out the Monty Python.
Monty Python, yeah.
Well, the way it all came to what you were thinking.
Yeah.
Not what you were trying to interview us, but straight away it came to what you were thinking.
You're dead right.
And everybody was what you were thinking. And that's the way every programme goes on telly regarding every interview, regarding the government, wages, union disputes.
No, I'll take this up with you. Because in fact, generally speaking, I try quite deliberately to sit on the fence.
Yes. No, but I took that as an example.
Simply because I don't want to influence you one way or the other.
Well, I took that as an example. You brought one thing since we've been sitting down, and it came like a arrowhead, didn't it? it right home, didn't it?
I've fixated on it. I've told you.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get that point about. Every interviewer on telly, if he wants his way and he's got the experience in words, he'll have it his way. So the public are even being condemned. You're only getting ever what the commentator wants you or what party wants you to hear.
It's going back to the old thing, Reg, it's these established figures all the time. People will automatically look at them because they think they're more intelligent than the average fellow,
Do you really think that's true?
Well, I think the average person does.
I disagree with that.
You don't think so? You've just said so.
I don't think it is.
Well,
because quite honestly, I mean, if I was given enough time to prepare for an interview at some of those, I'm sure I could have a good go at him back, But if he catches me off the cuff, well, he's got me really, because I mean, he's doing it every day of the week, and I'm working in this firm here every day of the week.
But then, all interviewers are chairman of the interview, basically, aren't they? Whether you're 1, 2, 3 or 4 of you sitting around a table, the interviewer is the one who says, it's now time to move on, or we must change the subject.
And I've seen the
point Mick's trying to make.
If you're
argument,
going
when
the wrong
argument
way,
was swaying against a certain party which he favours,
it can be moved away.
You see? By saying, I think we'll move from this to another point, and away they go again.
Mick, I think the point you're trying to make is this, that we see all of the game. We don't, on telly it doesn't appear that we see exactly what's happening, and what's been talked about, but we can't put it into words, and we can't express ourselves. We're not glib-tongued. We cannot express ourselves of our opinions that would be, you know, comprehensive to everybody viewing. Now, how many interviews have you seen of this nature that's happening this very minute on the television?
Very few. I've seen them on one hand. Every strike issue in the last 6 months of the year. I've seen
There's the answer to it.
Sorry, what
time is this debate going on? What we're talking about now, what time's it going to go on telly?
Friday night.
Friday night, what time?
I'm not sure. Tom, what time are we on Friday? Tom. I said in the directory, he's not even listening.
10 to 11.
Lot of people be thinking about blending.
On Friday night, most people will go out. You're putting this, and it's for the people, our opinions, and you're not putting it on, in my opinion, at the proper time.
Well, but fair dues.
They don't even
We're
know
a
their
late
own
night,
job.
but we're a
You're
late
first.
night programme.
Yeah, I agree. But you shouldn't do a programme of this context for a late night programme.
Why not?
Because most people at Friday night are either out having a drink. Right? The average working man. Saturday night, you put it on a Saturday night late when they come home from the pub and they want to have a little half hour and a cup of
Wait a
coffee.
minute, you can't have it both ways. Look, you're arguing from two points of view. You're saying on one hand, you're an average working man who doesn't want to watch television late at night on a Friday, right?
No, on a Saturday you do.
Yeah, but if we put this out on a Friday night and other sections of the community are watching, they are hearing perhaps your point of view for the first time.
Yeah, but do you think you'll get a bigger audience on Friday night than Saturday night?
No, we're not talking about the size of the audience.
Well, that's what you want. If you want to commute with people, you've got to have the audience, haven't you? What is the television medium? To commute to the masses, isn't it? So therefore, you want it at the right time to commute to the masses of people. And the only thing is to put, that's what's wrong with television, myself personally, is the wrong programmes are put on at the wrong times.
Excuse me, can I just ask you one question? Obviously, this programme will be chopped to blazes so that you'll use certain sections, if you use any.
It'll be edited, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It'll be edited,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Who has the final say on what goes on that television or not? I doubt if even you have. Because
No,
that has to pass through
No.
the legal department to make sure that no names are mentioned against anyone.
Because in fact, the only reason this will be cut is because we have been talking, I don't know how
Just
long we've been
generally.
talking, but we will have been talking for something like 40 minutes. And we can't put out 40 minutes of
Obviously,
this
yeah.
on the
No,
night.
no, of course,
This is just a question of editing for time. I can assure you nothing will be cut for legal reasons unless you say something libelous.
Well, let me just not
Slanderous,
saying anything libelous, but just going back to my original point about these certain figures being members of the establishment. For instance, will part of your edited programme include my saying the likes of Robin Day and Bernard Levin, as far as I'm concerned? They tie
Well,
the
that's fair
average working
comment,
man
isn't
up in
I
knots.
should be very surprised if they are cut. If
That's
they
fair
are cut,
comment.
it's fair comment.
Fair comment. But generally, we're getting back, to what we sat down to talk about. Entertainment, isn't it? And the level of entertainment on the television is not what it could be. True. Put it that way. Not what it could be. Whether or not it's economics that won't allow it to be so, or whether it's bad management, or you've got some people who've got the wrong idea of what the working class man calls entertainment. I don't know, All I know is I speak for a cross-section of... Well, I think you've got a fair cross-section of the average man at the table now. I don't think it's what it should be or could be.
You hear a lot of them.
And whether it's economics, I doubt very much. I think it's bad judgment. People who haven't been close to the way of life, the standard of entertainment that the average man likes. A lot of people. Red's trying to make a point of it, but it's not like that at all. That we are football maniacs. We're not by a bloody long way. We like a game of football. That's where it starts and finishes.
Boxing.
We like everything. We like good programmes.
It's
Intellectual or otherwise.
Why are they only on half-hour time? You get an education programme like Holiday, 1971 Holidays, that only has an half-hour showing, doesn't it? Now, what? That's a thing that educates the people. It helps them out to spend their money wisely. It saves stress and strain to all the holiday people, so they wouldn't have to explain it when they go to their firm. That would save them money. Why is it that a programme like Tom Jones or the Pop Singers get an hour and you get it week after week for a little while, then the public gets fed up with them, so they boot them off to America, give them a crack at it, and then they come back again. Why don't we have something that we want to know about? Like, everybody goes on holiday, and most people are going abroad now, so why don't they teach the average man exactly what is in store for him abroad, not just an half-hour programme and then put the pop idols on for an hour.
Yeah, well, the BBC used to do that, didn't they? Because what's his name used to do it?
Cliff Mitchell does it, but they've dropped it down to half-hour this year.
That is very
Now,
interesting.
you can't cover a lot in a
And like
half-hour.
Reggie say, you know,
More
it gives you
programmes
a clue
like
what you wanna
Braden's
do
Beat.
to make up your mind.
How many people knew that the government could go to, anybody can go to Somerset, where's the place where you get the birth certificate?
Somerset House.
Somerset House. Now, and find out anything about any individual, providing they want to pay a fee. Now, how many people in the country knew what the government and officials can do to the ordinary working class before Braden Beat brought that out to the public? Now, I'd like to know a lot more things like this from Braden Beat, or a different thing at an earlier hour, not wait till 11 o'clock and have to go to bed at 12.
You mean it's 11 o'clock's too late?
Well, I think in the week it is, yeah. If you've got a busy day, 11 o'clock's too late. Time you get to bed.
When's Braden on? Which? Well, Saturday night. You were saying you want late night programmes.
Yeah, but more programmes like that. More of that type. I'd rather see a programme like that than a pop group.
It was a very good educational.
See, I was going as far as to say that Braden's Beat,
Sorry,
generally,
just a second. Sorry.
It was a good educational programme on BBC Two about a fortnight ago. It was only shown on BBC Two. It was about the one particular school put part of their people into one exam, then they put them into another exam. And in one exam they came out with very good markings. And the other exam, the GCE exams these were, the other exam, scrutinised by a different body, governing body, they came out virtually bottom. Now these are the sort of things we sat down afterwards and thought, well, what the hell are we doing with our education? What is going to happen to our kids?
And
These are the sort of
you'd
programmes.
like to have seen that programme given a bigger audience?
Yeah,
say
on BBC One.
Mm.
Definitely, it was a BBC programme. The only choice is 2 or 1. One gets the bigger audience.
Do you really think people would rather see that sort of thing on at a peak time than, let's say, Tom Jones?
What's everybody living for? Their children.
In lots of cases.
Aren't they? Everybody's living for their children. And we want to see what's... Yeah, life is to
Life is
produce.
built round a family.
A family.
Definitely.
And that's why the manufacturers of children's clothes charge such fabulous price now, because they know that people like to give their children what they never had in the pre-war days. So therefore, they put the price up. So people must be interested in their family welfare and that's children, because people are here to produce, aren't they? So therefore, I think that if they give more programmes of what our children can do, now my son becomes 14, he's 14 now, and he comes up where he's got to pick his trades. Well, he asked me a simple little question like, what sort of trades are there? Now, I can tell him by word of mouth, but I'm not experienced enough to tell him all the intimate details of every trade. Now, wouldn't it be good to advertise a programme for children of that age, that there's going to be a guide of what different jobs are in for them, you know, what sort of fields they can go in for and what they will come across in that field. I mean, a school teacher, you go to the school and he only tells the child by word of mouth, and if he's a bit fed up that day, the child don't get told properly. But if it's a conducted, made-up programme that gives all the ins and outs, I think the children will be interested, and you get more people taking up trades to show the benefits of what a trade is, because the trades are dying out now, because people can get so much money working on assembly lines as a tradesman. I think you get the trades dying out. But if you can show them what a tradesman's really worth and what he actually does in different walks of life, I think you'd get more tradesmen in the country.
I think really we're getting all involved, we're getting all tied up here with the wrong things. I think really what you've got to decide is how much you want television to entertain you and how much you want facts on it, you know. I mean, obviously I don't really think that it's fair in everybody to sort of put on a load of documentary programs about different people's trades or people's holidays or something at peak viewing hours. Peak viewing hours really are definitely... television is entertainment, right?
You've got two channels.
Basically, it's entertainment.
You've got two channels.
Now, you just spoke about a channel, BBC Two, and everybody talks about it as though it was something that just crept out the Tate Gallery, like, you know. It's dead as far as they're concerned. Well, in fact, if I was given a choice of 3 programmes to change, I would pick BBC Two, and I would liven up slightly on the entertainment side and retain a lot of the different interviews that they have on BBC Two, because in actual fact, it's one of the few programmes that, getting back, doesn't insult my intelligence. ITV, for me, as regards to interviews, it's just not on. I don't think they could interview a cat, honestly.
Well, we've been talking, I don't know how long now, but we'll have to come to an end at some time. Now we've talked all this time, do you reckon, quickly sort of round the table, do you reckon that the increase is justified or not?
Increase in what?
In the television receiver licence?
My personal opinion, no.
What do you mean by that?
The licence.
Well, do you
For
think it's
what you're
worth an extra
getting-
quid?
For what you're getting.
For what you're getting?
For what you're getting.
But the way the cost of living going up, I think it's fair.
You on it?
Sorry.
M board, 3 take 1.